there is a very specific moment, usually around year 2 or 3, when a bright, penny-shiny copper trellis quietly transforms into something else entirely, its once gleaming surface, softening into a genuinely beautiful blue-green patina that looks like it belongs in a centuries-old European garden, and the honest truth is that this entire aging process happens completely on its own, with zero additional effort from you. A copper pipe trellis brings a genuinely sleek, modern meets timeless quality to a garden that wood or bamboo structures simply cannot replicate. And once you understand the basic plumbing skills involved, and which climbing plants actually suit this particular material, building one becomes one of the most visually striking weekend projects available to a beginner willing to learn a few simple pipe joining techniques. Sourcing and assembling your copper pipe is genuinely more approachable than it might initially sound, even for someone with zero plumbing background. Type M copper pipe, the thinner, more affordable grade sold at any hardware store, works perfectly well for garden trellis projects. Since you are building something to support lightweight climbing plants rather than carry water pressure, and buying pipe in 10-foot straight lengths alongside a selection of copper elbow, T, and coupling fittings lets you design essentially any geometric pattern you can sketch on paper. Beginners genuinely intimidated by the idea of soldering, the traditional method of heating pipe and fittings with a torch and melting solder into the joint to create a permanent, watertight bond, can skip that skill entirely for this particular project, since push-to-connect fittings, widely available and specifically designed to create a secure mechanical seal, without any torch or solder at all, hold up perfectly well for a structure that only needs to support plant weight, rather than pressurized water. For anyone wanting to learn genuine soldering, for a more traditional permanently bonded joint, the process itself is refreshingly quick to pick up, cleaning both the pipe end and fitting interior with sandpaper or emery cloth, applying flux, heating the joint evenly with a small propane torch until it accepts solder by capillary action, and letting the joint cool undisturbed, for a genuinely strong, permanent bond. A modest toolkit covers the entire build regardless of which joining method you choose. A tube cutter, a tape measure, sandpaper or emery cloth for cleaning pipe ends, and either a bag of push-fit fittings or a small propane torch with flux and solder for traditional joining round out the essentials. If you do choose to solder working outdoors, or in a genuinely well-ventilated space, keeping a fire extinguisher within reach, and clearing away any flammable material from your work area are basic, but genuinely important safety habits, given the open flame involved. And if your finished trellis will ever support edible climbers, specifically seeking out lead-free solder, now the standard for any plumbing-grade product, sold in the United States, removes any lingering concern about solder composition near food crops. Designing your actual trellis pattern is where copper pipe genuinely outshines almost any other material available to a beginner builder. Since its rigid, perfectly straight lengths and wide range of fitting angles make precise geometric designs, diamond lattices, fan shapes, or classic ladder-style grids considerably easier to execute cleanly than the more organic, forgiving shapes suited to bendable materials like willow or bamboo. Sketching your design on paper first, with exact measurements for each pipe segment, then cutting your lengths with a simple tube cutter, a small, inexpensive tool that scores and cleanly severs copper pipe, without the ragged edges a hacksaw often leaves, keeps your finished joints tight, and your overall proportions accurate to your original plan. Popular beginner-friendly patterns include a simple lattice, built from repeating 45-degree elbow joints, a fan-shaped trellis that widens gradually from a narrow base to a broad top for wall-mounted use against a sunny exterior wall, and a classic ladder grid using straight horizontal runs connected by T's at even intervals, each achievable with a modest handful of fitting pops and none requiring any curve bending skill at all. Since copper pipe's fittings handle every angle change for you, rather than asking you to bend the material itself. Sink your trellis's base legs into the ground at least 12 to 18 inches deep, ideally with a bit of quick-setting concrete. or firmly tamped gravel around the buried portion, matters considerably more for this project than it might seem given how lightweight copper pipe feels compared to timber, since a tall, wind-exposed trellis with a shallow footing can genuinely topple in a strong gust, despite the material's rigidity, an outcome that is more about anchoring than about the pipe's own strength. Choosing the right climbing plants for a copper trellis deserves real thought, specifically because of how this material differs structurally from heavier options like wood or wrought iron. Lightweight annual and perennial climbers, clematis, sweet peas, morning glory, black-eyed Susan vine, and cucumbers among the best choices, suit copper pipes' relatively thin, smooth-surfaced structure far better than genuinely heavy, woody climbers like mature climbing roses or wisteria, since copper pipe was never designed to bear the substantial, ever-increasing weight a decade-old woody vine eventually develops. And pushing that boundary risks a bent, permanently deformed trellis within just a few seasons. Clematis specifically appreciates copper pipe's smooth, narrow diameter for its delicate tendrils to wrap around, though you may notice these tendrils grip a slick copper surface slightly less readily than a rougher, more textured material, like bamboo or willow, meaning a bit of gentle hand training in the plant's first few weeks genuinely helps it establish a secure grip before its own natural climbing mechanism fully takes over. Light and temperature requirements naturally follow whatever specific climbing plant you have selected, though copper pipe's metal composition introduces one genuinely worth knowing consideration beyond the plant itself. Clematis and sweet peas generally want a solid 6 hours of direct sun to bloom reliably, while morning glory and cucumbers are more uniformly sun-hungry across their entire structure throughout the day. Copper conducts and radiates heat considerably more readily than wood or bamboo, meaning a trellis standing in intense, unbroken summer sun can genuinely become hot enough to the touch that it stresses delicate new tendrils making direct contact with the metal during the hottest afternoon hours. A detail worth keeping in mind, particularly in the hottest southern states, where positioning your trellis with a bit of afternoon shade protects both your plants and, frankly, your own hands during summer maintenance visits. Genuinely cold winter climates, copper itself tolerates freezing temperatures without any damage whatsoever, unlike a container or barrel that might crack. So no special winterizing is needed for the structure itself, though whatever perennial climber you have planted at its base will still need its own species-appropriate winter care. The research behind copper as a garden material reaches genuinely further than simple aesthetics, though it is worth separating documented science from popular garden folklore here. Copper's antimicrobial properties are genuinely well established and formally recognized, with the Environmental Protection Agency having registered numerous copper alloys, specifically for their proven ability to reduce bacterial populations on contact surfaces, research originally developed for healthcare and public settings that has since been referenced by some gardeners as a reason copper structures may harbor less surface mold or algae buildup compared to organic materials like wood. Over time, the popular garden claim that copper reliably repels slugs and snails, often marketed through copper tape products, is considerably less settled scientifically than many garden retailers suggest, with several controlled studies finding copper's deterrent effect on these pests genuinely inconsistent and weaker in real garden conditions than in controlled laboratory settings. So, while you may notice some benefit, treating this specific claim as anecdotal rather than a reliable primary pest control strategy is the more honest, evidence-based expectation to set for yourself. Separate horticultural research on vertical growing structures generally, regardless of the specific material used, has consistently found that training climbing plants upward air circulation around foliage and meaningfully reduces fungal disease incidence in humid climates, compared to the same species left to sprawl across the ground. A benefit copper pipe delivers just as effectively as any other well-designed trellis material. The effect of building and tending a project like this on your own well-being connects to research on craft-based hobbies involving genuine skill acquisition. Learning a hands-on technical skill like pipe cutting, fitting, or soldering, distinct from purely decorative crafts, has been specifically studied within research on self-efficacy and competence-based satisfaction, finding that hobbies requiring a person to master a concrete, transferable technical skill correlate with measurably higher reported confidence and life satisfaction, compared to purely aesthetic projects requiring no new skill development. Meaning a copper trellis genuinely offers you something a purely decorative purchase never could: real, useful knowledge you now carry forward into future projects. There is also a documented aesthetic satisfaction specific to watching a material visibly transform over time through natural weathering, and research on material aging and human attachment has found that objects which visibly change and develop character through natural processes, exactly what copper's patina represents, generate stronger long-term emotional attachment from their owners compared to static materials that look identical on day 1 and year 10, essentially meaning your trellis will likely mean more to you 5 years from now than it does the day you finish building it. Watering plants trained up your copper trellis follows standard practice for whatever specific climber you have chosen. Checked with the familiar finger test, roughly 2 inches down, watering deeply whenever that depth feels dry, rather than relying on frequent shallow sprinkles that only wet the surface. One genuinely copper-specific consideration worth knowing involves runoff, since rainwater or irrigation water making prolonged contact with bare, unpatinated copper can pick up trace amounts of dissolved copper before reaching the soil below. And while this amount is generally negligible, for ornamental climbers like clematis or morning glory, gardeners specifically growing edible climbers like cucumbers, directly up a copper structure, should be aware that concentrated copper runoff can theoretically affect soil copper levels over many years of use in one exact spot, a genuinely minor concern for most home gardens, but worth knowing if you are planning decades of edible cultivation on the identical structure, rather than rotating your growing location periodically. Fertilizing and pruning both play genuinely important roles in keeping your trellis display balanced and its structure protected from being overwhelmed. Feed your chosen climbers according to their own specific needs. A diluted, balanced liquid fertilizer every few weeks for heavy bloomers like clematis and sweet peas, while lighter feeders like morning glory need considerably less supplemental nutrition to perform well. Pruning applies on 2 meaningfully different levels here. For the plant itself, regularly deadheading spent blooms encourages continued flowering rather than seed production, and trimming back any growth pulling too heavily on one section of the trellis keeps weight distributed evenly across the entire structure, rather than concentrated dangerously on one thin pipe segment. For the copper itself, no pruning is genuinely needed, though periodically checking push-fit connections for any looseness as the structure settles, particularly during its first full season under real plant weight, catches a potential joint failure before it becomes a genuine structural problem. Even a well-built copper trellis runs into predictable issues, and knowing how to read them takes most of the guesswork out of keeping yours both beautiful and sound. Joints that begin to loosen or separate slightly, more common with push-fit connections than soldered ones under sustained directional stress from a heavy, one-sided vine, are best addressed by redistributing plant growth more evenly across the structure. And, if a specific joint continues loosening despite that adjustment, reinforcing it with a hose clamp, or, for a genuinely permanent fix, learning to solder that specific connection instead. A trellis that leans or has visibly shifted at its base almost always points to insufficient footing depth relative to the structure's height and the surface area of plant growth catching wind, and adding additional buried depth or a small concrete footing at the base resolves this reliably. The patina developing unevenly, with some sections darkening considerably faster than others, is a genuinely normal, cosmetic variation based on which sections receive more direct rain and humidity exposure, rather than any building flaw. And most gardeners find this uneven aging adds, rather than detracts from the material's organic, evolving character over time. And if you specifically want to prevent the patina entirely, and keep that original, bright copper shine, a clear metal lacquer applied to freshly cleaned pipe before installation slows oxidation considerably, though this finish will eventually need reapplication every few years as it wears away from sun and weather exposure. Building a genuinely striking copper pipe trellis really comes down to respecting a short list of fundamentals. Choose type M pipe, and either push-fit or soldered joints based on your comfort level. Design your geometric pattern with real measurements. Before cutting anything, set your footings deep enough to handle wind. Despite the materials, lightweight, choose climbing plants genuinely proportioned to what thin copper pipe can support, and decide up front whether you want to preserve that original shine or let the patina develop naturally over time. Handle those details with intention, and you will end up with exactly the kind of sleek, slowly evolving garden centerpiece that looks genuinely different, and arguably more beautiful, with every passing year you own it. If you love learning about seasonal flowering plants, vegetables, gardening tips, and nature care, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Nature Nurture Hub, your home for year-round garden inspiration. Let's keep growing together.